Welcome to the Beat LA podcast. My name is Matt Ferrucci. I'm a writer-director in Los Angeles via San Francisco and the Bay Area. And I am joined, as always, by the most interesting man in the world.
If he were to punch you in the face, you would have to fight off the strong urge to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. Paul Rule. Paul, how you doing?
That's the shortest introduction you've ever had from me, Matt, but I'll take that anytime.
You know what threw me was you're wearing this red Adidas. It's like the Kumar from Royal Tenenbaums look right now. Nick, real fast, I really like that on him. No diddy. All right.
Correct usage.
You use that nicely.
Yeah.
So I wore my 70s Adidas tennis satin jacket, or whatever this thing is, because we're doing some tennis today, baby.
It's a tennis pod, baby.
I just put on a hat, LA Tennis Club hat. We got tennis today. We got a great one, Matt. I'm so excited. This is my Super Bowl. You talked about how for you, like the Pope draft was your Super Bowl. This is my Super Bowl.
Got it. This really is your Super Bowl. This is all our Super Bowls because, folks, we got a great show for you today. We have a father-son duo coming in. We have Brad Gilbert, former tennis pro, tennis legend. He's in like 6 Hall of Fames. You know him. If you know tennis, you know Brad Gilbert.
Maybe the greatest tennis coach of all time, my favorite announcer, any top 4 in the world.
Yeah.
Back in the golden age of tennis when I came of age.
We're going to talk a lot of good stuff with Brad because he goes there.
Just watch him on ESPN, man. He's the best.
Uncut Brad Gilbert.
And Zach's a fantastic guy. Zach's a buddy of mine from the LA Tennis Club.
Yeah.
He's our tennis director, a former top player at Cal Berkeley. So
right.
I've been getting a lot of texts and tweets. All people want more tennis content.
Yeah.
That's what they've been asking for, and you're getting it right before, right as Roland Garros is rolling.
That's exactly right. So stick around if you want to know about...
Or as Charles Barkley calls it, the French Open.
Changing that from French Open to Roland Garros is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Stop.
That's exactly right. If you want to hear who Brad thinks could win a slam this year, who some of his favorite players are, how Zendaya's forehand is and challengers, a whole bunch of stuff, including his take on the Raiders, the Warriors, and if he was a scalper for the Raiders back in the 70s,
right. Again,
selling tickets.
Two Bay Area guys, and they love their Bay Area sports team, particularly East Bay.
East Bay, baby. East Bay.
Yeah.
Paul, how you doing? I'm the one who took a trip.
Matt, I want to ask you. I'm going to turn the table here. You just got back, traveling man.
Yeah.
Bon vivant. What happened in winning film festivals and pillaging your way through New York and Philadelphia?
Yeah, I just got back from New York and
Cracking
Philadelphia.
the Liberty Bell.
Yeah. I was out there for 2 film festivals. The film I directed screened in New York, screened in Philadelphia. It won a couple awards in Philadelphia at the First Glance Film Festival. It was great. I got to say this about New York, Paul. I'm starting to feel my age.
Oh, that tells me you went out and maybe had a hangover or two.
New York's exhausting, man. I went to Finnerty's.
Oh, you saw the new Finnerty's. How's that?
The new Finnerty's, it's a blast. If you're in New York, it used to be the big San Francisco bar. They closed during COVID. They reopened on 33rd Street, and it was outstanding. I was there for Game 5 when the Knicks lost, but also I was there and I watched the Warriors lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But that bar is incredible. The thing about New York, Paul, the bars close at 4 a.m. on the East Coast.
I know, it's dangerous. That's why I had to
move.
move.
Tokyo,
I had
baby.
to move.
It's real dangerous.
Yeah.
It was real
Did
time.
you talk to Finnerty's? We should do a remote from there.
We should.
Yeah.
We should definitely do a remote from there. New York was fun. Philadelphia was great.
The guy who owns it was behind home plate at the Giants game last night. I think his name is Dieter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like Dieter Brock, the former quarterback for the LA Rams back in the day.
Or the organist for the LA Dodgers, whose name I think is Dieter Rule.
Dieter Rule.
Yeah, we should get him on.
Listen, I was out there when the Knicks won on Friday, Game 6.
I imagine they're going crazy.
Listen, if they win the next series or they even get to the NBA Finals, that whole city is going to implode.
Yeah. Even Timothy Shamalama Ding Dong is a Knick fan.
Oh, I love it. Hey, man, I was walking Game 6, the game they won on Friday night. I was walking to a bar to watch the game. Coming down, I was on the west side, Upper West Side. Walking past me was Knicks assistant coach Maurice Cheeks, 76ers legend. And
Two of your favorite words, Mo and cheeks.
Mo and cheeks, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love New
I
York.
don't know what that means.
Yeah, neither do I. Paul, before we get to this amazing podcast, I've got to do a little bit of house cleaning first, as they say.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. Welcome to the Beat LA podcast. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us the whole episode on YouTube. Follow and subscribe. You can also watch clips of the show on Instagram and TikTok. Follow and subscribe.
Racing to 2 million views, Matt.
We're racing towards 2 million views. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know what happens when we get to 2 million views, but at 1.5 million views, right now, we are still sponsored by Day Trip Beverages.
Oh, let me put my hat on.
CBD-infused sparkling water. Crack open a Day Trip.
Well, and the prebiotics, which are excellent, but I think there's one over there.
Yeah, Day Trip, it's delicious. If you're watching sports, crack open a Day Trip. It's going to calm you down. Escape the ordinary, Paul. Day Trip.
It's an excellent product. Matt, we don't just promote it. We drink this stuff.
We drink this stuff.
Delicious. The CBD, they're both great, but I find this very refreshing, and I get a little nervous for a podcast, and I feel like it calms me down.
You know who loves this stuff? Our guests.
You're going to hear about that.
Yeah. Our guests love Day Trip.
Brad Gilbert has a personal experience with Day Trip.
That's right. That's right. So without further ado, folks, let's get to our interview with Brad Gilbert and Zach Gilbert. All right, Beat LA heads, we're back. And Paul, we got a good one today. Okay, get ready for this intro. I'm known for these. This episode's a heater. We got a former number 4 in the world who racked up 20 ATP titles, represented Team USA in the Davis Cup and the Olympics, and made a career out of outsmarting flashier opponents with pure grit and tennis IQ. He's also a member of 6 Hall of Fames. Wow. It's kind of like pretentious. It's
one
ridiculous.
More than you, Matt.
All right. After hanging up the racket, he became one of the most successful coaches in the game, guiding legends like Agassi, who called him the greatest coach of all time, Andy Roddick, Andy Murray, and most recently helping Coco Gauff capture her first Grand Slam. Alongside him is his son, a former Cal Berkeley standout, now the director of tennis at one of LA's most iconic clubs, and somehow the chillest guy ever raised by a tennis assassin. We're talking tennis, trash talk, Raiders heartbreak, movie Forehands, and everything in between. But to us, they're just a couple of diehard Raiders and Warrior fans. Please welcome Brad Gilbert and Zach Gilbert. What's going on?
Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, who knew I was in 6 Hall of Fames?
Yeah.
And I'm actually going into another one. My wife's disheveled about it. I'm going into Foothill Junior College
That's the cherry.
in October.
Right, stop before Pepperdine.
So maybe that will be my 7th.
Lucky 7.
I'm not even in my high school Hall of Fame. How about that?
that's
All right, we're going to work
bullshit.
on this. This podcast will get you in the Piedmont High Hall of Fame.
There we go. Yeah. That's
Yes,
the last
but
one.
welcome to the show, guys. This
Thanks
is a
for being
safe
here, guys.
place for Bay Area love and hate on some SoCal teams, if that's your thing. To start, Brad, born and raised in the Bay Area, Piedmont High Highlanders, right?
Definitely. I'm a Highlanders guy, and I was born in Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California.
But here's the big question. You ever see the movie Highlander?
Yes.
Yeah.
With,
Christopher Lambert.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
And
Excellent.
Sean Connery, wasn't he in that too?
Well, there was about 3 or 4 of them, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Because you were born different, men will fear you, try to drive you away.
Actually, the house I grew up in that you moved to in Marin County, we were on Highland Avenue too. So
Jesus,
it's like
I can't
get
right
away
there.
from it.
Unbelievable.
Can't get away.
And now
So
you're in
you-
Hancock Park, Zach,
Yeah.
which is near Highland
Also,
Avenue. Yeah.
LA Highland.
What do you remember about those Piedmont high school days?
You know what? I'm going to say that we were way ahead of times compared to where we are now. In 1970, well, I graduated, so 79, so maybe 75 was my first year of playing at Piedmont High School. And we had an amazing team. I'm going to say top 2 or 3 in the country.
Okay.
But a lot of teams refused to play us.
Okay.
And now you have an issue where guys are trying to play on women's teams and all sorts. We had 4 unbelievable girls.
Your sister, right?
My sister, another girl that was top 50 in the world, Linda Siegel. We had
I
another
remember
girl
Linda
named
Siegel,
Karen
yeah.
Schaefer, another girl named Wendy Driver. all nationally ranked. My sister, her senior year of high school, was top 50 in the world in women's rankings. But like teams like, oh my God, I'm not playing against a girl, and I'm like, really good, you know.
So it's because they're scared to get their ass kicked.
Yeah,
right?
right.
That's
It was
why they
just
don't want to
weird.
play.
But I can tell you honestly, and then when we would go on the bus, sometimes we'd have to share with a baseball team. They would torment us for having like girls on the. I was like, they're legit. They're a lot more legit than you guys are.
Yeah. I tell you one memory you don't have from high school. Beating my brother. You played Miramonte High School.
Yeah, they were in our league, Miramonte, Campolindo,
And you kicked my brother's ass. He thinks he got 3 games. I talked to him before the podcast. He's convinced he lost 2 and 1. I'm sure it was double bagel, but
What
he was 81 at Miramonte.
So he's 2 years younger than me because I graduated 79, so I took him to the woodshed.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he gave himself 3 games over the last, 40 years.
So yesterday, the guy came into my tennis shop. He's from Redwood High School, and he goes, and he was telling me that, geez, you won the states like in '75, and I was like, nah, I don't think so. And he goes, no. So he went and got the record, came back, and it was like my older brother. I never won it. Like
Runs in the family.
Yeah, you didn't know?
I can't claim it.
That's funny.
I didn't play number 1 on my team until I was a junior. I played behind my sister for 2 years.
Not many guys in 6 Hall of Fame can say they played behind their sister.
I did.
In high
I
school.
played behind my sister my freshman and sophomore year.
Did you go Piedmont High too? Where did you?
No, I went to Marin Academy, which
that's
is
right, I
in
knew
San
that.
Rafael. Yeah.
So you grew up in the Bay Area too?
Yeah, in Marin County.
Brett, you're born in Missouri? Is that right? You were born in St.
Yes,
Louis? What were you guys doing in St. Louis?
But my mom's from St. Louis.
Okay.
And so I was born there, but raised in the Bay Area.
I mean, he came here when we were like 10 days old.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Basically, we were
You were off winning
on the tour with,
was
me and Toe as a baby. We were on the road after I was like a month old, 2 months old.
Yeah, he was on the road until he was 5.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But my
Child of the
family
Wow.
is like my grandma was born in San Francisco in 1900, and I believe my dad's family came to California in the early 1860s.
Oh, wow.
They came to Auburn, California.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
where the gold was.
Gimato, Raiders.
Oh yeah. Raiders used to have. When I was a kid, before Santa Rosa, were they in Sacramento?
They might have been.
They
yeah.
were
Like for
up-
training camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have their training camp before Santa Rosa. I think it was near Folsom.
Well, that makes sense, right?
Because the 49ers were in San Jose for a while.
Because
That's where I got OJ's
more of
autograph.
when I was a kid,
Yeah.
more of Northern Cal was more. There's a hardcore difference between East Bay and obviously Raiders and Niners fans. I would say there's much more in the Bay Area and Northern Cal of Giants fans than A's fans. But I felt like there's more Raider fans
Right.
in NorCal than there are Niner fans.
We should do a poll. We should commission someone to
This is
take that.
this is
poll.
where I was a
get
kid,
you. Yeah.
especially because the Raiders were a great team.
They were great. And they weren't just great. I mean, they were, they were the Raiders, right? They were the iconic Raiders with Kenny Stabler and Cliff Branch and John Matuzak and all those.
Ted Hendricks,
Ted
Lyle
Hendricks, and
Alzado.
all those guys,
Those were
right?
like iconic. I met Al Davis when I was 10.
Just win, baby.
That's great.
I was at my friend's house, Doug Albo, his dad, Dr. Albo. He was the team doctor for the Warriors and Raiders.
I remember
Doc
the
Albo?
name.
Yeah, sure.
I remember the name.
And, we were at the house. We were talking about something. And I played tennis. You any good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, shitty answer.
Yeah.
I said I was okay.
Nowhere was it?
Where's the confidence?
Well, we're going to get into the tennis, but let's talk Bay Area sports because Brad, you talk enough tennis all the time. Are you still ride or die with the Raiders even post Vegas? I know you're Oakland through and through, but how do you feel about watching your team in a nightclub stadium next to a roulette table, Brad?
I'll say this for me.
I like the pause.
hope in my lifetime.
Yeah.
This run of the last 12 years with the Warriors,
Yeah.
for me and Zach to share this,
Yeah.
has been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been the A's of 70, 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
Won the division 71 and 75. That was iconic, and they had amazing teams. but he has not seen the Raiders win in his lifetime. And we had to see the Giants win, 3 times, which is a killer. We're not Giants fans.
Yeah.
And we went to the Super Bowl.
I was happy for the Giants the first time that they won. The second and third time, I was like, okay, that's enough.
But he raised you a Raiders fan.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and talking about like the regionality of, your team affiliations in the Bay. In Marin County, I was very much in the minority as a
that's
Raiders,
90%.
Right.
A's fan. That was almost 9 out of 10, if not
Giants
more.
and Niners.
Giants and
Huge.
Niners. So
Yeah.
I took a lot of grief as
Yeah,
a
of
kid on
course.
that front.
Yeah.
But Matt knows his story. So I grew up in the East Bay as a Raider fan, and they were my first love. I remember I read the Jack Tatum book, the Assassin one, and then Teddy Stabler. I was obsessed with the Raiders.
I can see it.
And they moved. And when they moved, I was young enough that it was literally my first heartbreak. I was so upset. I didn't understand business. I didn't understand anything. I just thought they left me. And when the Raiders moved to LA, I was like, I'm done with the city of Oakland. And I became a Giants fan. And then it helped that the 49ers won the Super Bowl that year.
When we moved, then we won 2 Super Bowls.
No, I know. I remember Marcus Allen and
I felt like the Raiders'
Jim
name
Plunkett
is more synonymous than the city.
Yeah.
It's the Raiders. I mean, the logo nothing has changed. With the A's, I feel completely different. They're playing now in some bullshit, AAA. It's not even their own AAA park. It's the Giants.
It's the Giants AAA park.
Yeah, no,
Talk about
literally, I've lost my love for the A's based upon their cheap owner, and the
That was
GM is
gonna be a
just
question,
literally,
yeah.
he's literally let's make a deal, Monty Hall,
Yeah.
But I will be a Raider fan for the rest of my life.
Well, let's do this. So considering that you were one of tennis's top strategists as a player on tour, can you transfer that knowledge to other sports and tell Raider Nation how you would fix the Raiders? I mean, do you think they're doing it now? You got Pete Carroll, you got Geno Smith, Ashton Gianti, Max Crosby. Do you believe?
It's like one of those things till you see it. I mean, I still think we probably got 5 years more of pain because there's no way they're going to be better than the Kansas City and Mahomes. And until, the quarterback is very marginal.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
And he's certainly an improvement over what we've had,
Yeah.
but he's not elite.
Yeah.
And unless you have an elite QB or you have some amazing defense, which we don't have either. So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful we'll be a little better, but to tell me we're going to be better than Kansas City or San Diego,
I was going to say
excuse
the
me,
Chargers are good
Yeah.
too.
the Chargers. I'm not seeing it yet. What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, based on how the last 20 years or so have gone, I am not overly confident going into any Raiders season per
Right.
se. I like Pete Carroll. I mean, I love the
Yeah.
guy. I love his passion. I don't know how, after being out for a handful of years now, how that's going to work out with him jumping back in. But yeah, I just think it starts with you see the Eagles doing this full rebuild,
Yep.
winning a Super Bowl with a completely different team than they had, won with, 6-7 years prior.
Yeah.
And it was great rebuild of the offensive and defensive line. And
Right.
I feel okay, you can get Geno Smith. I mean, we do have some great offensive pieces with
Powers
Powers
was
was
amazing.
great.
He was
Awesome
from
last
Napa
year.
High. Actually, Pete
He's a
Carroll is a
throwback.
Marin guy.
Yeah.
Carroll
He
is
went
too.
to Drake.
But until we really get an elite, offensive defensive line, I don't know how we
You're
compete with
protecting your
those
feelings.
teams.
That's I get it. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. That's healthy. for
Yeah,
you guys.
I got to tread lightly going into any Raiders season these days.
For sure.
No, I feel like the pain, though, of
Yeah.
the Raiders does hurt me more than any of the other teams.
Yeah.
Seeing the Warriors' joy for me over the last 12 years. I mean, literally, we went 39 years without winning a division. I don't think, and during that 39 years, I don't think we ever once finished above the Lakers.
No.
Not once. So this magic run, I mean, I've been a Warrior fan since when the Warriors won with Rick Barry, but I would say my first love was probably Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were talking before, Paul, about the Madden movie coming out. And Nick Cage is playing John Madden. We got Christian Bale as Al Davis. We're excited for this movie. You're excited. You got real hyped for that.
I mean, I guess. Sure. I mean, I didn't think they would ever make a movie about John Madden, so I'm excited about that.
Brad, you could maybe get a part in that.
Were you at the house when I believe, I'm going to say 15 years ago, I gave a lesson for an auction.
Okay.
And John Madden, I believe, maybe his wife, they bought it for, remember, their granddaughter or something like that. And then the Madden Cruiser came to the house.
I know I was already.
Yeah,
I was out.
the Madden Cruiser came to the house in San Francisco. He didn't come.
Okay.
It was his son that came.
Right.
So it was so I got to see the Madden Cruiser.
That's
It's very cool, and you know the craziest thing is how you can transform yourself as a coach. Like I would say, his personality, you didn't know he had a personality.
Then,
When John Madden was a coach, and then he became the head coach at an incredibly young age, and people have no idea that he was an iconic coach.
Yep.
And then he went from coach to being a broadcaster, and that was kind of a surprise. And then that was his calling. He had a massive career in broadcasting and commercials and everything. But as a coach, he had very little personality, and didn't like to talk to the press.
Do you think it was the burnout, or do you think it was really he didn't like to fly? I mean, what a crazy reason to kind of stop coaching, right?
Well, he had to fly.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah.
You know, sometimes you can actually develop, more of these things as you get older.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know. Maybe we'll discover that in the movie that they had to put him down, give him something to knock him out to get on a plane.
Yeah,
Very hard to be a professional tennis player and not fly.
Yeah. But you're
I think
talking about
impossible. On that front. Yeah, one sport where I don't think
Pretty hard to get to
I can do that.
Australia, the Madden Cruiser.
Yeah.
Let's talk Warriors run. This Warriors team, the window, Steph got injured, which stunk because I thought we could take down Minnesota. But we got Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy for 2 more years. You guys believe we can make one more Hollywood run for a title?
I believe in Steph.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have 4 on the Bay Area, right there on our pantheon,
Yeah.
I mean, he's first.
Yeah.
But for the Warriors to be any good, there's no way that, for me, that Draymond Green can start moving forward. There's no way. He's got to, relinquish his role. And this year, I felt like he's still playing well, but his antics are going, they're hurtful. So I feel like for us to be better, he can only be playing 15, 20 minutes a game.
Interesting.
I think Butler still has another
Clip
big
that
season
take.
left.
Clip that take.
But I definitely think
that's-
that Draymond, max, he cannot be playing 35, 40 minutes a game. We will not be relevant if that's the case next year.
3 guys all over 36. I think it's going to be a lot of load management next year. You just said something really interesting, though, that we've never talked about on the pod. The Mount Rushmore of Bay Area sports. You think Steph Curry is number 1?
I mean, 1, 2, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Is Steph and Joe Montana.
Right. My
Jerry
head
Rice.
started spinning on
Okay,
that. Yeah.
I mean, if you only got 4, if Barry Bonds was probably the most, feared player ever, but he actually never won a title.
No.
Yeah.
And then you take what happened.
Yeah.
So I don't think he can be on it. So I think those 3. What do you think, Buck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still would put Barry on it as the 4th, even without winning the title. He was just so incredible.
But maybe Posey's on there. He was there for all 3.
I wouldn't even put Posey above Baumgartner.
But he's the Derek Jeter of that team, right? He was the reason they won all those championships.
Do you feel like to be on the Mount Rushmore of NorCal Bay Area, you had to play pro sports?
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's a great question too, because we got some
like
great.
Bill Russell won a ton, and he won.
Right,
2
or do you have to play in the Bay Area, or do you have to grow up in the Bay Area?
I think for this game, let's keep it plain for Bay Area teams.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Zach?
I have maybe if it's not Barry, I think it's Rickey Henderson.
Oh,
probably.
Rickey, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he did win.
Yeah.
And he did
Henderson.
win.
Rickey
Yeah, he was
Henderson.
great.
He's my favorite A of all time.
Yeah.
Because he just talked to about himself in the third person.
Luke Brock was the symbol of great base stealing. But today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Brad, you brought up something really interesting there, your Draymond Green take. So, I mean, you've coached some hotheads. I'm sure you're watching these games. How do you handle someone like Draymond? Because we're telling him to shut up, but that craziness fuels how he plays.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
And Steve Kerr, I would say the most underrated part of his great coaching is his ability to work the bench. Mm-hmm. And he was a bench player for 17 years.
Right.
And part of the greatness of the Warriors, was having guys like Livingston and Iguodala and different guys that he could insert.
Yeah.
That was actually his strength as a coach of being able to move those pieces. But I felt like, this is just me personally as a coach.
Right.
I was massively disappointed that the league and the Warriors didn't suspend him for the season after he punched Poole. I felt like that went too far.
Yeah.
And if you watch the video, it didn't happen in a skirmish.
Yeah.
Which, if it did, he got hit, getting a rebound.
Right.
He was on the sideline. He thought about it. He was pissed.
Yeah.
They should have suspended him for the season, and then they rewarded him with a big contract.
Well, that's one reason he punched him, is because he was pissed that Poole got paid and he hadn't been paid, right?
That might have been festering a little bit, yeah.
So I felt like they lost the plot with that.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
They've given him too many
And they just won it.
That's why I feel like now he's hurting Steph. And you could see even a few times this year and in playoffs that Steph with the look. I love Steph.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, he's a combination of Rafa and Fed.
Okay.
He's got Rafa's amazing athletic ability, his grit, his toughness, and he's got Fed's artistry. He's got his shot-making ability.
Right.
So I think if you put those two in the blender, you get Steph Curry.
Well, here's the big question.
That's high praise.
Zach.
Yeah.
Because I know your dad's got a take on this. Do we re-sign Kuminga?
So, tough one. I think definitely before the last two playoff games, I would have not hesitated and said no.
Right.
Because I have not been overly high on him. Like, especially some of the games that we've gone to see live, it just doesn't look like he has a good feel for what's going on out there. He's an incredible athlete.
Sure.
Like, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just feel like he's a bit of a deer in the headlights in terms of fitting in within the scheme of our offense. And for a big guy, he doesn't rebound particularly well, which is all concerning. And it's not like this is his rookie year now. It's been 3-4 years.
Yeah.
If it was me, if we could get someone that understood their role a little bit better in his place,
Sure.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I got two thoughts on it.
Yeah.
One, they don't control it anymore. I think that he's pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to sign with the Warriors. No
Okay.
chance. And
All right.
he's a,
Yeah, I mean, him and Steve have a little bit of I think, friction too.
Yeah.
The only thing that they could maybe salvage is some sort of a sign-in trade.
Right, yeah.
Okay, but he's a totally free agent, and he's not a max player, so I think he's gone.
Okay.
I think the greatness of Steph, no matter what you think of his shoe, whatever, you could put him on any team. It makes everybody else better.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw when he went out, the team, like, without Steph, is a shadow.
I mean, Butler talked about first.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted to be Robin, right? And he was so happy about finally having this
but
guy.
he's not. He can't
that
create.
He could defer to. Yeah.
I mean, literally, as soon as Steph crosses half court, he's double, triple team. Kuminga, unfortunately, as athletic as he is, only makes one player on the team better.
What do you think makes Steph
Himself.
so good?
He's not. He doesn't create for others. Yeah. So that's not really like kind of, what do you think, the Warriors' philosophy?
Yeah.
No, it really doesn't fit in great. I don't know. Just to your question too about can that trio of Steph, Jimmy, Draymond get it done next year? I think it's tough because I think they could. Like this year, I don't actually think we were terribly far off if Steph stays healthy.
Yeah.
Like I think we had a shot at getting
they
through
had
that.
Jimmy the whole season, right? And didn't have to sprint to the finish line the way they did.
Yeah,
right?
we were already fatigued going in because of that sprint. But I think it's just now you're one more year later, and you're asking those same three guys to shoulder a lot of load. And I don't know if it's a reasonable, assumption that the three of them can all stay healthy for a playoff run at this point.
We're seeing Djokovic just finally starting to kind of break down, right? At a certain age.
I felt like if Steph doesn't get hurt in game one, they're playing OKC now.
Yeah.
I don't think they had enough to beat OKC.
Yeah.
They're good.
I think, though, Chris Mullin's a really good buddy of mine. We talk a lot. And I think it was a no-brainer. I cannot believe that they love Pozinski as much as they do. And they could have had Markkanen. That's who they wanted. And if the Warriors had Markkanen this year, minus Pods, I think the Warriors would have been the best team in the NBA.
Well, here it is. Here's the too early Giannis talk, because the big rumor going around, sign and trade Kuminga. They're saying to maybe make a trade with Milwaukee because Giannis loves Steph. He was the only non-NBA player to show up at his birthday party this year. They're saying Pods, Kuminga, Moody, 2 first-round picks. I think we all would do that to get Giannis.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, why would Milwaukee do that?
That's the $600,000 or $600 million question.
I would say more along the lines of Giannis makes it pretty clear to them that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Right.
But
He
these
pulls a
people are
Jimmy.
saying they would have to throw in Draymond, and I think we know who would throw Draymond into that trade.
He's been off the Draymond bandwagon for a
I'd rather
while.
have Markkanen than Giannis.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's a better fit for the Warriors.
Interesting. Maybe they can revisit it.
Yeah.
Just on a 1-for-1 basis,
I don't think they would have to give up as much.
Sure.
He would have been
that's a factor.
He would have been a better fit because he's a way better outside shooter and can play a little better without the ball.
We need a big guy.
Yeah.
We need a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved what Steven Adams was doing in the playoffs.
I was telling him
We were
last
talking
week.
today. I also would like him to finally be on our teams. I hate that guy so much. I'd like to actually not have to play against him anymore.
He could take our sort of Zaza Bogut plays.
Exactly.
Yeah, he can take the role of Draymond kicking guys in the nuts. Yeah. Like Steve Adams is
But
good
he
at
also
that.
knows how to pass because we
Yeah.
need a big guy who can pass in our system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did you ever party with Run TMC back in the day? Don Nelson? You ever hang with those guys?
I mean, okay.
Did you ever go to Dustin's house in Hawaii? And
Chris Mullin is the godfather of his sister.
Okay.
So I've been friends with Chris for 40 years.
Yeah.
So we have lots of stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Scramble, generally speaking. Absolutely. Look at this shot from. Oh, no! Chris Mullin takes some more time off.
I am not a Don Nelson fan whatsoever.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
he drafted Steph. Without him, I don't think there's.
Yeah,
I don't think Steph's
he's
for the Warriors.
probably one of my least favorite ever because it's his way or no way.
Fair enough.
And-
Right. As a coach, you see that, and you don't like.
And I saw him degrade Sharunas Marshalonis, who's one of the greatest guys ever, in front of the team, and it was just deplorable.
Yeah.
So and when Zach was born, I lived at Harbor Bay Isle.
Okay.
Chris
In Alameda.
Mullin lived there. Don Nelson lived there.
Yeah.
I saw those guys, but I am not a Don Nelson fan whatsoever, and I'm still disheveled. They brought him back in 2008.
We believe.
Mully brought him back.
Yeah.
And then he threw Mully under the bus.
Okay.
I love Mully. As much as I love Mully,
Yeah.
you can have Don Nelson any day of the week. And last I checked, he never even got to the finals of an NBA.
That's
That's
true.
way overrated.
Yeah, that's
You ever
true.
play horse against Mullen?
I did many times.
Yeah?
We played one. We battled a lot.
How'd that go?
Not well for me.
Not well.
I was gonna say one of my better childhood memories too is we got a surprise visit. Chris brought over Michael Jordan to our house.
Oh, wow.
And we had a hoop on the court at our house.
Yeah.
And I believe you have a horse story with Michael Jordan too, right?
So literally, Zach is wearing. Zach is wearing. Remember, you used to wear those MJ shorts.
I wore my Jordan shorts for.
And literally
when they went to like capris to like high shorts.
Straight like Rafa.
Yeah,
they
about
just kept
7
getting
years
shorter.
old. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then he was on his way up. They were going up to play Silverado in golf. And then next thing you know, we were shooting a little horse. We played a set of tennis. He'd never played tennis. Wanted to figure out how can we bet on this.
Of course. Yeah, the gambling.
But he figured, okay, if we're playing, we got to figure out something. Great character. Great.
Yeah.
It was fun. Just, even in Street Coast, I was like, okay, can we figure out something here?
Yeah.
Can I give you 3 letters? Can we do something? I don't think there was anything that I was gonna let her, but I could go lefty off the glass. I have a great opposite hand.
Yeah, the one,
You
the
got
one,
a,
the
you got
one
a
move.
southpaw son, right?
Yeah, I mean,
learn to play again.
I have
and
a
Mullen's
funky
lefty-
shot where I
Mullen's a
can score
lefty, too.
letters.
Okay.
The winning ugly stuff translates across sports too, and I can definitely vouch for the fact that his basketball game is ugly but effective as well with the lefty hook shot.
The lefty hook shot.
And it's like when I was a kid, when we would play football, glue. If the ball was thrown anywhere near me, it would literally stick to me.
Stick him. Is that the old? Yeah,
I feel like
that's
there's
Hayes.
some
That's
Some
Hayes,
tight end here or something.
right.
right?
Like, we're sticking on your arm, right? You're catching with your forearm.
My game, like in tennis, how to figure out how to play is the same in every sport that I do.
Makes perfect sense.
Do you think, because you brought it up, the winning ugly, do you think your style of play on the TikTok tour with these 21-year-olds today, you think you could have outgritted some of these guys?
The game has gotten way better in every sport, athletically. But I like to think of, I would have figured out how to win matches.
Sure.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
But I would have had to been better. But, everybody that played in their era is thinking, okay, I would have, but I'm certainly not thinking, oh, I'm better than this.
Sure.
But I think I could have competed.
Yeah.
I don't know how good I would have been, but I certainly would have given it a whirl. What do you think, Buck?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mentality translates across generations, right? I don't know. When you see, like, maybe there are certain guys and gals that play your style effectively, like, to this day a little bit more, like Alex DeMinor or something, who's, like, you know, maybe 8 in the world, and he doesn't have nearly the shots some of the other, or like a Medvedev, you know.
You know who I would say was a much better version of me, and a lot of times his game is kind of ugly, and you can't figure out how good he was with his game, was Andy Murray.
Okay.
To me, winning ugly in any sport, and they even talk about winning ugly in politics, but it's just your will to compete.
Sure.
You know, because sometimes you can look better and not have good results. Sometimes you don't look as good and you can get great results. So it's more about your grit, your determination, and your willingness, you know, to sacrifice. And it's really important, those elements for a team.
Where does that come from? Like, so Steph's dad played in the NBA, right? He lived a good, you know, sort of suburban life in Charlotte. But he's a warrior. He's got the heart of a lion. Where does that come from? Like, where did it come from for you? You grew up in Piedmont, probably grew up, you know, pretty nice neighborhood. I don't know, but you compete. Can you teach that?
You know, the thing that actually pisses me off when they say some kid comes from a wealthy family, they say, "Oh, he can't compete. He doesn't." Why?
Right.
I mean, when you're playing, it's not about your bank account or your parents' bank account. It's about your own willingness to get better and work on your game. I think it's ridiculous when someone says, "Oh, because he grew up in a privileged." You can grow up in a poor background and not compete well, or you can compete. You can grow up in rich. I mean, Jessica Pegula now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously grew up in incredibly.
Emma Navarro too, right?
Okay. Nobody's gifting them results.
Yeah, Taylor Fritz, they talk about that.
So nobody is. They obviously had talent and worked hard. It's exactly the same for Steph, that he's massively worked hard and he's continued to work hard. And full credit to them. And that has nothing to do with their background. It has a lot to do with their heart and determination.
I can tell you one thing, too, about how he's wired, which I think tells you a lot, and it circles back to some Bay Area sports stuff, is that basically as a hobby, as a 9, 10-year-old, you would take the bus and go scalp tickets in the parking lot of the Oakland Coliseum just because you love the hustle of it, right?
That's a great story.
I did it from the time I was 9 to about 19.
Yeah.
And you know who I met when I was like 10 years old? Stanley Burrell Jr.
No shit.
You know who he is? That's MC Hammer.
That's
right. That's right.
MC Hammer.
New kicks and bands, you got it like that. Now you know you want to dance, so move out of your seat and get a fire girl and catch this beat.
I believe his dad and uncle, they ran the parking lot. By the time, because MC's like literally my age.
Yeah.
By the time I think he was 14, he would be on the phone during all the A's games describing the game to Charlie Finley in Chicago, because it's not like you could get radio play-by-play back then.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I was scalping tickets at Raiders, Warriors, A's, Cal Bears, anything that, you know, the last event that I ever did. 1981, I got about 150 Stones tickets.
That's a tattoo you do.
It was at Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
I slept out overnight, got a little tip, and literally that was the last event that I ever did. And then we were selling the tickets out of my parents' real estate office on Lakeshore Avenue. Made about $7,500.
I bet.
Paid for my Asia trip playing. And then I retired after that.
That's incredible, man. So you guys play each other. What happens?
Good question. We mostly avoided it in terms of properly like playing a set or anything like that. We hit a lot, but we never really played. I think it's for good reason, though. I think it's for good reason.
We battled. You know what we battled on?
Yeah, true.
We battled in the garage.
Yeah.
In ping pong.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we would have some battles, and he was always close to beating me, but I would somehow tough you out, and then he would get pissed. I think one time, I think you thought I let you win, and you got so mad at me.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
Yeah, nobody likes that. Nobody likes to feel like somebody let you win.
That's great.
But, okay, you won more than me, but it's not like I never beat you. Come on, I'm a pretty good ping pong player.
we would compete at non-tests. We would compete playing horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think because we could feel that even those would sometimes spill over into one of us, usually me, as a teenager getting pissed. It's probably not a good idea to take that on the tennis court. You know, where it's even a little bit more charged because we were both so invested in it. Yeah.
Well, you were a standout at Cal. You played at Cal. What was the craziest piece of advice that your dad ever gave you that actually worked? Like grunt louder to make your opponent scared, or eat Skittles before the final set. Was there any crazy piece of advice?
Lie to yourself about the score, that kind of thing.
Yeah, plenty to choose from. I will say we are wired a little bit differently. And you mentioned the score, kind of the mind trick of one of his go-tos is, if you're up in tennis, sometimes it's easy to sort of take your foot off the gas and let the other person back into the match. And he would always just tell me, just pretend, you're up 5-2, just pretend you're down 2-5 and go from there and play with that level of hunger.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I would always just be like, I love you, but I can't actually make myself believe that. I cannot do the self.
I love that piece of advice just in life, though.
Yeah, no, it's great advice.
You're always, you're behind.
I did the same thing with Andre Agassi when I started coaching him, and I would tell him, okay, when you're up 5-2, because he struggled on a few matches when we started. I said, tell yourself you're 2-5 down. He goes, what do you think? I'm fucking stupid? I can see this and it says, I'm up 5-2. How do you tell yourself you're 5-2 down? I was like, I could do it to myself easily.
Yeah.
I always did that as a little kid. I would always tell myself, no matter what, I'm down, so I keep pushing.
Yeah.
I'll give you one that was effective, though, for me, which is another quirky one that he has. But, sometimes you got to, in between points, you have to sort of settle your mind down a little bit, reset, move on to the next point if you just played a bad one. And he would always just be like, Tom Petty is his favorite musician of all time. And he's just like, just hum a little Petty tune in your head, a little free falling, little American Girl, and that'll just kind of calm you down and let you reset for the next point. And I do that, and it does.
It's like your
own
work. Personal walk-up song.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's play some Tom Petty right now. Let's cut that into the pod right here.
Saw his first Petty show in 97 when he played the 25 shows at the Fillmore, and one of them, Jacob Dylan, tried to take your seat. You were like not giving him your seat. He was like, wrong, this is my seat.
I saw his last show.
I saw it at the Greek?
No, at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, I saw it at the Greek before that.
Yeah. One of my first concerts when Petty they were the backup band for Dylan at the Greek in Berkeley. I think it was 85 or something like that. By the way, he calls you Buck.
Oh, yeah. That's my nickname. It's been since I was like 2 years old. He basically never says Zach. It's actually always Buck.
Buck.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I think it's because I watched the movie Bambi every day for about 6 months straight when I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. And young Buck from Bambi.
Like that.
That's who cares? That's great where it comes from. I dig
maybe it was like, you guys are doing a little gambling, like the thing from Trading Places. It's always $1. Yeah, it's always $1.
$1.
I won. I lost. $1. Thank you, Louis.
Is there a match from those Cal days, or even for you, that keeps you up at 2 a.m.? Because I remember in my amateur days, we lost the state championship. I still think about that to this day. Is there a match or something at 2 a.m. you're like, fuck, I should have got that one?
Yeah, sure. I don't know why. Unfortunately, sports are like that a little bit, right? I think it's oftentimes your mind goes back to the ones that got away versus the ones
it's like poker.
that you did win. We had a really, really good team my senior year.
Okay.
We had kind of built ourselves up over a 3-4 year period where our tennis team wasn't too strong my freshman year. And by my senior year, we were 5 in the country, and we had a very legit team.
Marty Davis, who's a coach there?
A guy named Peter Wright.
Okay.
Oh, he was there for a long time.
I still think about you got screwed at Stanford playing my alma mater, Pepperdine.
Oh, yeah.
In the NCAAs.
Yeah.
He was up 7-6, 4-1, serving 40-15, 5 points from the finish line.
Yeah, in the NCAAs.
In the NCAAs, and then his team loses. And then they abandon his match.
Yeah, that's one kind of lame thing in college tennis.
Yeah.
So
In
you
the
don't
playoffs, at
finish
least.
the result, and I was like, fuck. I mean, he's 5 points from the finish line, and then he doesn't get credit for the win. I was so bummed about that. It's like, your number one guy could have stalled a little longer.
Could have stalled, I could have used that. College tennis I loved it, though, because someone that played more individual sports growing up, but also loved team sports, it's sort of like married the two.
Yeah.
And so I would be more gutted when we had like a rough team loss than a rough individual loss. And so, my senior year, we had a good run, and we made like the Sweet 16, and we lost 4-3, just a heartbreaker to Tennessee, who had 3 really, really good players, guys that all pretty much made the top 100.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, couple points here or there.
Yeah, that keeps you up at night.
Yeah. We could have kept going that year.
I don't want to pull it a scab, but I know you lost in the finals of the NCAA tournament to Michael Leach.
This is great. Look at you. You're like, this is your life.
Do you think about that still? Or have you had all sorts of other amazing things in your life?
Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, shocking. Just a shit loss.
Yeah.
I'm still pissed that I lost that match. And the only reason why I went to Pepperdine, I had gone to Foothill, and I was going to turn pro. And my coach at Foothill, who was my coach the rest of the you got to go to see if you can win the NCAAs.
Oh, wow.
And so that's the only reason why I did go. Hell, I didn't even know. It wasn't like you could Google it. I didn't even know Pepperdine was on the beach. I had no idea. I'd never even.
Well, you live in Malibu now, right? So you must have some good
but
came
when
from
I
it.
rocked up, like literally, I didn't even map in the car. And I'd never been there, I'd never seen it. I didn't even know it. I actually got lost down on Highway 5 and ended up in downtown LA. And I was like, how the hell do you get to Malibu?
Right.
But I have a similar one like that where a college tennis guy who was on the team, the opposite version though, he was on the team at University of Pacific in Stockton, coming from
Tigers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he's coming from Europe, never visited the campus before, and he's expecting Malibu because it's called University of Pacific. He's like, he gets to Stockton, and he's like, where is the Pacific? They're like, it's about a 2-hour drive, that's all.
Oh,
and
that's
he's like,
great.
yeah, no, that's not.
Oh, that's
not what I'm
right.
looking for.
Yeah, I played this guy. He's a senior, and I was ranked about 200. I was already turning pro, and he'd have been like your Timmy Lincecum, a guy about 5'11", that he had a massive serve. And he put together this one tournament, and I just choked. I just choked. Had a tough semifinal the day before, and that was the first year they went from best of 5
Wow, they played
to best of 3. And we had the no-ad scoring, and I had 5-4, had 3 set points at 5-4, game point at 5-all, game point at 6-5, fell apart, lost 5-3. Not like I don't remember it from 43 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't like no ad scoring. I'm sure you feel the same way because it turns into a crapshoot.
No,
right?
I like no ad scoring.
You do like no ad
Sure,
scoring.
yeah.
Really? I guess because you're saying the pressure player will win that point. I'm not a good pressure player. That's why I don't like no ad scoring.
I can be honest with myself. I choked it.
Oh, wow. All right.
I choked it. And then I lost to that guy. He wasn't a very good pro, and I lost to him the first time that I played on tour. We both signed with Jockey. Remember Jockey? I had tennis clothes.
Okay.
Yep, I remember.
And I couldn't believe that we were not friendly whatsoever, me and this guy. I mean, we were definitely 2 guys in 2 Uber cars.
Yeah.
And I lost to him the first time, but then I think I played him. I'm going to have to look this up on the way home, but I think I kicked his ass in the finals of Livingston. I think he had one tournament where he got to the finals of an ATP tournament, and I played him. I took him to the woodshed.
You sent him into retirement.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we do a new segment right now, brought to you by Day Trip? Let's what do you have over there? Why don't you get this, the cream soda?
We'll give you a cream soda. There's probiotic.
Let's just try these.
Prebiotic. If you'd rather have the prebiotic.
Okay, I'm going from coffee, and I told you I was at Molly Stone's 9 days ago.
Yeah.
And they had a fair. There's 150 tables.
Yeah.
right in front of my tennis shop were these guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got a free sample.
That's great.
not
That's
bad.
really good.
And
They're
I
a
asked
Bay
him,
Area company.
I asked him how come I didn't get a buzz.
There you go. There you go.
It'll calm you down. It'll even out the
So
coffee.
he
Yeah.
just told me this is a different kind of THC.
Well, it's CBD, less of the
It
head
will not
high
make you high.
situation.
The THC
Yeah.
makes you high. The CBD is more for like anti-inflammatory, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
We can't say what it does because it hasn't really. I don't know if the FDA is.
I have a question for you guys on this Beat LA.
Yes, sir.
Is it good for us to win, or do you root more for LA to lose?
It's a great question.
And by the way, and you guys both live in LA. That answer kind of changes when you live in the shadow of these jerks, right? I actually I hate the teams more than I even did growing up, right? So what do we think?
Yeah,
Matt?
I mean, I think for me, it's like when the Dodgers are in the World Series, right? Or not the World Series, but they're in the playoffs. Our Giants suck for the last few years. I'm like, you know what? I want you guys to get to the World Series in Game 7 and lose because I want maximum heartbreak for you guys. I love rooting against the Lakers. It's a great question. You know what? I might do the hot take here. It's more about LA losing than us winning.
I would just to me it gives me something else to
You guys
root
have it
for.
more as San Francisco fans because the Giants, Dodgers, and you had the Rams, Niners.
Right.
The Raiders had the Chargers, and then the A's, the Angels were they Anaheim or they?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But that's not the world's biggest rivalry.
But you brought up a good point earlier. It's like when my dad, we had season tickets for the Warriors when we were in the lottery every year.
Yeah.
We had a nice little run with George Karl, but we always sucked, and we knew he would suck. But I enjoyed seeing the Lakers getting bounced by the Celtics.
Yeah, no, the Lakers are
You
the
know?
one team for me that I really enjoy seeing them lose.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
He got mad at me. You got mad. I always rooted against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Hate the Lakers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's
But then I became a massive Kobe fan.
huge Kobe fan.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Just not the team per se.
Right.
I just love watching Kobe play.
Love the way he went about it.
Yeah.
What he did.
Yeah, the
I
assassin
just
thing.
love
Yeah.
just
the Warriors were bad for so long, as you talked about. I was sort of the same way. Like I was like, maybe I could kind of get behind the Lakers when Kobe was there. And when they play the Warriors, I root for the Warriors. But there was something about Kobe. He just
it's something about him. But now, I probably have my biggest disdain for LeBron.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love, the Barbie James, Bitch James. I do it all, and I got a lot of Laker
Diddy.
fans.
The
Diddy
Diddy,
James.
the Diddy Party James.
Yeah. But here we go. Rapid fire here before we get you guys out of here. Who do you believe can win their first Grand Slam this year?
On the men's side or the women?
Either.
On the men's side, the tough thing is we just came from three guys that dominated for such a long time. You figured after that period, we might have a few years where, it might take a few years to figure this out. Well, all of a sudden now, it's been two guys that are winning all the slams for the last year and a half. I mean,
sure.
I thought in 24, Joker would have won one, probably two. I did not think that Sinner Alcaraz would win 4. Now, this year, I have a hard time feeling like anybody is going to win one besides those two guys.
Gotcha.
If you had to pick one current American who could win a slam, who is that?
We do have a good crop of young Americans on both sides, men's and women's. On the men's side, even though Fritz just made the U.S. Open final, he was one match away, I would go with Ben Shelton. I think he has the most upside. Like, if he has such a high ceiling to his game and has so much, raw power, it's crazy.
Over Tommy Paul?
And he's a lefty.
I love Tommy Paul, too, but I just think Ben has the weapons to
I agree with him
for the best chance.
I think we got, to steal a line from the Warriors, we got strength in numbers. We've got a lot of guys, but I don't know that the totality of the strength in numbers can overcome a Sinner and Alcaraz for a while. I do think that Sinner got completely screwed. I don't think he should have been suspended for 1 day.
I was going to ask you that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I thought it was a complete joke. He had 1/7 of a gram of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, so no one would ever try to cheat with such a minimal thing. That's a whole nother story. On the women's side, for the first time now, Swiatek has started to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's dominated the clay. So I do think we will get somebody this year on the women's side.
I mean, Andreeva is 17 years old and been knocking on the door already.
Yeah.
She's
So
really good.
I could see
Really
that,
good.
or I could see, like, a couple others. So I do think there's more, would you say there's more openness in the women's than the men's right now?
A little bit more, yeah. I mean, the men's is still, like, I could see Jack Draper, who's been playing great, like a British guy on the grass.
All lefties
like,
for you.
Oh,
man.
Yeah. Maybe I'm biased subliminally. Yeah,
He's only the second guy, I think, in the last 20 years to be a lefty and be top 5, besides Rafa.
Yeah, I think he's
That's
like
interesting.
only.
Yeah.
Which
Is that like? Did I just pull that stat out of my head?
No, I think I saw that. Yeah.
You said it with such conviction, though I believe it. Right? You know what's funny, real quick about Fritz? Taylor Fritz in that Netflix show that came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching it for the first time, and I'm watching Fritz and with his girl and the whole Newport Beach thing, and I'm like, fuck this guy, Fritz, this rich kid. Then I saw him play 3 years ago for the first time at the Open, and I saw him rip. And when I saw him play in person, I became a huge fan. But it's just about like the perception, and then you see the guy play, and then you love his game. For me, I became a Taylor Fritz fan once I saw him in person play.
Well, I'm glad you have that, because there's another one, because his ancestry owned Bloomingdale's and Mays. To me, I hear it all the time, and from some kids that I've worked with, or the parents will say about, Pegula got all these. Listen, if she wasn't unbelievably talented, she would have never gotten to 2 in the world.
Yeah.
And the same for Navarro. It's ridiculous. Just because Steph's dad is in the NBA,
Right.
Okay, doesn't mean. Michael Jordan's kids never made the NBA.
Sure.
And one of them played in college, and there's a lot more pressure.
Yeah.
Especially if your dad was really good or your parents. Hey, listen,
I wouldn't know anything about
I was
that.
gonna say, I asked that question the whole time.
I just feel like that same thing. If your dad or mom is a great actor, maybe it helps get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't have talent,
You're not going to stick around. You're not going to stick around.
And look, one thing we all love about tennis is there's nowhere to hide, man. I mean, you're out there by yourself. It's the ones where they're that in boxing, maybe, right? Where you're literally out there by yourself against another opponent. And so either you're going to beat that person that day or you're not, right?
there's no worse feeling when you're getting your ass kicked, and there's no, like in wrestling, you can't tap out. You just have to take your beating sometimes.
Yeah.
And hope that somehow it turns around. But listen, I've been on the beating end of, and there's no worse feeling that you're playing for a pro crowd that's rooting for you.
Yeah, that's true.
And they want you to do great, and you're still getting thumped.
That kind of translates to any level too. That's a tough spot.
Well, let me ask you this question. This is a question brought to you by Day Trip. We just got to keep saying that.
I know,
shit.
I know, right.
Yeah, right. Don't overthink it. And I know you coached a little bit. You coached a couple of guys too. Who would you rather coach? Old school, wild card, McEnroe or Connors? If you had to pick one of those guys to coach, who would make you lose your mind less from the coaching box?
I'll just say this. I enjoy the challenge of coaching anybody.
Yeah.
And a weird
Good
thing that
political
people
answer.
think that great players, why do they need coaches?
Sure.
Everybody wants to be coached and to get better. And you always feel like, okay, that whoever I coach, I don't think about what's happened before. I only think about what's happening now and how I can help them become better. So if you have the chance to coach a great player, both of them were great players. Obviously I had my, issues with both of them on the court, which is a different element. But if you're coaching, no matter who you're coaching, it's not about what you did as a player. It's now you're trying to help them.
Sure.
And both of them were incredible players. I think McEnroe was a better player because I think his game was, for me to play against, was much more difficult to play against of the two.
Okay.
Way more difficult, but both of them were great players.
Yeah.
Even though you sent him into his first retirement.
I mean, they were both great players. I mean,
I remember
there's
that
no
match.
doubt. I mean, I can't believe that, you know what? I'm looking at all the things here, and you know what didn't come up? I mean, I'm disheveled that he's still not on our team. I wish Green was gone and he was here.
Yeah.
My favorite Warriors of all time, I mean, obviously because Chris Mullin is a great friend of mine. I love the guy.
Yeah.
But I love Clay.
Clay.
Gets it to Draymond, down to 5. Klay Thompson at 3. Klay for the win. Good!
this whole season.
Yeah.
I just was.
Yeah.
It didn't feel the same.
Yeah, that's
bittersweet
true.
because
He
it's
was.
like he shouldn't be gone. He's the ultimate warrior. I love that guy.
But I love his personality. Love his press conferences.
Yeah.
All of that. He was a great. My other
Captain
favorite
Clay.
warrior of all time. Remember Sleepy Floyd?
Sleepy Floyd, yeah.
he's my
He's
favorite.
no Klay Thompson.
He's no Klay Thompson.
Come on.
He's no Klay Thompson.
Love that guy. He's like, and you know what? He's a dream guy to coach because he just plays hard.
Right.
And he's an unselfish player. And he's another guy, too, that you could put him on any team.
Right.
And they'd have a spot for him.
That's very true. Yeah.
You know what? I was gonna random aside, but talking tennis and talking Bay Area sports. One of the biggest tennis events to come to the Bay Area in about 20
Labor
plus
Cup.
years.
Labor Cup.
Yeah,
Labor
Chase
Cup
Center.
is going to be pretty exciting
Yeah.
too, at the Chase Center,
Yeah.
home of the Dubs. And your guy Andre Agassi is coaching Team World now,
Oh, is
which
he
is
now?
going to be
Which
exciting.
is amazing. We haven't had a
McEnroe passed
tournament.
the torch to Andre.
We haven't had a tournament in San Francisco since I think I was in the final.
Transamerica Open.
And I lost to Andre. Was that like 91 or 92?
I ball boyed the Transamerica
Oh,
Open.
did you really? That's
yeah,
awesome.
many
Did you
times.
ball boy for me?
I think I did. So I have two ball boys. One, I ball boyed I think it was the 1981 Davis Cup against Italy. Do you remember this was
yeah.
McEnroe?
I think I was 79.
79. I was 10 years old, and my aunt called me from Boulder, Colorado, because I was standing next to the scoreboard. There was a manual scoreboard, and I was too little to run around the court, but they put me by the scoreboard. And then I also ball boyed for McEnroe when he was in college, when Stanford played Berkeley.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Did
big
they
slam.
play that match indoors?
Indoors. It was like in a
Indoors
gym.
at
It was like a Harmon gym, I think,
Yeah.
maybe.
And was that match in '79, the Davis Cup? Was that not at Civic Auditorium?
I think that's right. It was against Italy, remember? It was like Claudio Panada, and I don't know who else was on that thing.
Good, right there.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
back.
put my bona fides here, Gilbert boys. But yeah, Labor Cup should be great.
It's great for San Francisco.
Yeah, it's great.
And I still bummed that we lost the tournament. So hopefully, it's right after the Open. Hopefully, the Bay Area will support it.
I already
Have a
got my
great crowd.
tickets.
It's already sold out.
I'm going to
sold
Roland
out.
Garros.
It's already sold
Already?
out?
Yeah.
Sold
Wow.
out like that.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So.
We got to go.
So you know what? The secondary ticket market's on fire. So if you want to start scalping again, you could make a killing.
So I'm going to ask Andre if he can get me a
Unretire.
couple. I'll ask Andre if he can get me a couple of ducks.
Yeah.
That's
Couple-
easier.
Two more questions. We're going to get you out of here, guys,
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
But he's too humble. But this guy's going to Roland Garros for the first time this year.
Awesome.
It's a dumb game, but it's so much fun. Start, bench, cut. Okay? Wimbledon, U.S. Open, Roland Garros.
You do the Aussie in there, too.
Yeah.
You know, 4.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe the Aussie too, but for me, it's tough. But I would start Wimbledon.
Okay.
I would bench U.S. Open, cut the French.
Cut the French. Interesting.
But
Okay.
I love them all.
Oh, you love them all? Yeah.
You know what's funny is my love has changed from playing to coaching to getting older. I love them all.
Yeah.
They all have different things. But I probably now, obviously Wimbledon is the pantheon. It's the cathedral of our sport. But I probably look forward most to Australia because you start thinking about it like in October and the people are so friendly. It's like their Super Bowl for like 3 weeks. So I probably would start the Aussie. I would call like even Steven the Open and Wimbledon, and I would bench the French.
French isn't
I've been to
Paris
all
doesn't get
three.
the
I'm
love.
trying to compete my own Grand Slam.
Oh,
there you
so,
go.
yeah.
Then you got it. Yeah, then you gotta do it.
We'll compete it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Did you hear Charles Barkley's promo about when
Yeah,
they
we
were
know
just
that
talking about
TNT's
this?
doing it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, TNT's doing
Yeah,
the
he-
broadcast.
he-
Andres and
No, he
Becker.
got
and-
upset that like he can't. Why are they calling it Roland Garros?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, we're paying them $65 million. I think I can call them the French Open if I want to. And Ernie's like, I don't think we're going to get to do this promo again.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
They gave him $60 million a year. They better shut the hell up.
Wow. Probably the last time we'll run that promo.
Has Agassi called you to get a little advice on announcing? Because he's
I think he'll be fine.
okay.
Andre has an amazing gift of gab, and he's a great speaker. He'll do fine. He's done it a little bit before, so he'll be fine. I've got no worries about Andre. He's got photographic memory.
Oh,
He's going to be great.
I do think you'll have a great time at the French, despite our putting it on a
I
lower
love
tier.
that.
It's
Yeah.
they're all worth a visit.
So will this complete your group?
This will complete it, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You're going to have a great time.
But I agree with you on the Aussie. You got they're more
a lot of fun.
the Australian or the Happy Slam. It's so much fun, and it's the middle of their summer. Nobody's working until Australia Day. It's just everyone should go.
It's the only one of the four that's like right in the heart of the city too, which is pretty
Also,
cool.
in California, it's great because the matches are at night, prime time, whatever. You can watch tennis, daytime. Anyway, yeah, Aussie's great, but they're all. I'll come back with my report. I don't know if there's something I'm supposed to eat there, right? Like, what's the strawberry and cream version of what's at the
good question.
at the French?
It's been a longer since I've been there.
Pan chocolat. What am I supposed to get?
Probably some champagne.
I can do that.
And you know what they like? They like that bullshit sandwich. That's the baguette with like the micro slice of ham and butter.
They do like the jambon. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, where's the condiments? Where's the tomato? Whatever. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Well, I thought there was two questions. That was one.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. You have your final question. You always like to lead out with.
Oh, I gotta do this in the movie about the Gilbert family movie, but who plays the two of you in a movie? Winning Ugly, the movie.
Winning Ugly, the movie, starring. Do you have one?
I hope he legitimately does get one for if they ever adapt Andre's book into a movie.
Oh, it's such a good book.
I think that would open, yeah.
I actually just did 13 hours for Andre's doing for Apple.
Okay.
He's doing a doc. So I just did 13 hours. And I did in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. So we spent basically the whole year of 22 as the tennis consultants. And I had a little cameo for Challenger.
To see the work that Mike, Josh, and Z put in to make it the best possible tennis. Let's go! That's what I get excited about.
Oh, we were supposed to. Yes, I knew that. Thank you for bringing that up.
October to December. Jake Johnson. It's a Ben Stiller comedy.
Oh, the pickleball.
Pickleball movie.
So hopefully, if they do Andre, then they'll have a good beer drinking guy for me. See,
this is our. See, we call it Beat LA, but it's also the LA Beat. Good thing we brought a little Hollywood in here. We've been meaning to do that.
You can't go wrong with me like a Bradley Cooper. Like if Russell Crowe loses some weight, get an Australian actor to play him, or maybe you get the Christian Bale. He comes hot off of Al Davis,
Christian
and then he just plays Brad.
I have to think about that. Who could play me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, if we went real old school, a young James Garner, Rockford Files.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah,
How
great
is
show.
Zendaya's forehand in real life? Because that thing seemed like there was a little CGI to me.
I mean, considering she'd never played before, she did a great job. She worked hard for, considering she'd never played tennis. 2 of my 3 actors in that had never played tennis.
Wow, because usually
So she did a great job.
One of my pet peeves about tennis movies is you can tell that the tennis is terrible, but Challengers, the tennis was good. Bought it.
You know the power of CG.
Yes, I
is a
do.
beautiful thing.
You want to
Some good body doubles too.
Anything's actually real anymore.
We had great body double. I don't know who's going to play me.
Yeah, I'll leave that to you guys too.
Okay. We'll work on that. We know people in casting. We'll talk about it.
Beat LA.
Yeah, beat LA. Right.
Guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. That was fun.
All right, we're back, folks. What an interview. Paul, I'm going to say this to you first. How you doing? You okay? You okay? Was it everything you dreamed of?
That was so much fun, Matt.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great time.
I mean, all of my favorite topics, Bay Area sports, talking about dumb shit I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Lots of tennis.
Yeah.
I got to wear my jacket. I got to be here with you for all this. It was great. Anyway, thank you, Brad. Thank you, Zach. We are very grateful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
There were a couple of questions I wanted to ask those guys that we just couldn't get to because of time. So I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
The questions that I wanted to ask those guys.
Okay.
You think Brad Gilbert's more of a Ted Lasso or a Bill Belichick as a coach?
That's a great question. I think he's definitely more of a Belichick
type of coach.
Smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
Who could be tough when he needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's more Belichick.
Yeah. You know what? Let me interview you real quick about tennis because you're going to Roland Garros, the Grand Slams, tennis season's in full swing right now. I'm a little bit of a tourist. I go to the U.S. Open every year because I like looking at the talent.
Well, there you go.
It's a lot of fun going to the U.S. Open.
If I were playing at center court, I would never get there, but I'd probably be very distracted looking out at who's watching me.
Oh, exactly. All those finance bros bringing their Aerosky girls to that thing.
Right. Mark Davis bringing, what's her name?
Yeah, Hayden Church or whatever. I don't even know what her name is. But hey, let me ask you this question, because I didn't ask Brad because of time. Let's get spicy. You know that the tennis rankings lie sometimes. Who's the most underrated player right now in the top 20, you think? Like, who do you think can break through this year and make some fucking noise?
In the top 20?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I like this Mickelson kid. He's 18 years old, Southern Cal kid. He's not in the top 20. I think he's 32 in the world.
Okay.
I think I was waiting for Brad to mention him. I think he's the next Ben Shelton, sure, but I think Mickelson could be the next really good American. Next guy in the top 10. Yeah, maybe by the end of the year.
I think Shelton.
Mickelson.
I think Shelton breaks through this year. Shelton's a guy that could use Brad. Because he's like
the whole time we were talking, I'm like, who has called you since you and Coco parted ways? Talk about proof of concept. A guy coaches her for one season. She went to major. She hasn't won anything since. Why isn't there a line at the door from American players in the top 50 to have him be their coach?
Because Brad Shelton, they call him the human highlight reel. Okay, he's like the Dominique Wilkins of tennis. But he needs a little bit more strategy.
Well, by the way, his dad, the problem is his dad is his coach.
That's right. That's right.
His dad's a great coach. He was coached at University of Florida when they won the NCAA championship, and he also won it with the women, I think Georgia or something like that. He's the only guy who's won NCAA championships with both men and women's teams. So his father, who was a pro as well, is an excellent coach, and that's part of the problem, though. Sometimes you got to get away from dad.
Yeah. I'd love to see Tommy Paul get under his tutelage, just to get to the next level.
Tommy Paul, I'm surprised he plays it all. He just could be a TikTok guy with his shirt off. That's all he does.
That's because you love TikTok. No diddy. Guys, let's get into some NBA stuff real quick. We're going to talk a little bit of NBA, 49ers and Giants, and then we're going to get you out of here. You can go on with your day, folks. The NBA playoffs, I know like the NBA is fourth place, almost bronze medalist on your stuff, but you know a little bit about the NBA. Paul, the Knicks are in the, for the first time, conference semifinals. They're playing the Indiana Pacers.
Conference finals.
Yeah. Indiana Pacers. You got Oklahoma City. You have Minnesota. 4 teams that haven't been there in a really long time. It's the new wave of the NBA now. There's no more LeBron. There's no Steph there. There's no Durant there. Who do you like?
Well, but the most recent championship of those 4 teams was the Knicks in 73.
Which is going to make this beautiful.
Pacers have never won it. Oklahoma won. Actually, that's not true. Oklahoma was Seattle, and Seattle, I think, won it in 78 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, the T-Wolves are fairly new and have never won it.
Let's first off, real quick, Knicks, Indiana. Who do you think gets out of the East?
I think there's so much hype about the Knicks. I think Indiana's going to win.
All right, listen up. Here's what we're going to do. Jimmy, they're going to be expecting you to take the last shot. We're going to use you as a decoy.
Yeah. I think Rick Carlisle is a great coach.
He's
Cal Burton.
He's got a little Gene Hackman because Indiana, they do like 3 passes before you shoot the ball. Yeah. They play basketball. They are textbook basketball.
And he has won before with Dallas in 2011.
The Knicks, they got all the juju on their side, but they play some archaic style hoops of isolation.
I just think there's so much pressure on those guys.
And their bench is only 7 deep. They're playing guys 40 minutes a game. I would love to see New York get there. The final I want is New York versus Minnesota because they made that trade earlier this year. Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns for DiVincenzo.
I'm definitely rooting for Minnesota. Usually teams that beat my team, I don't either root for or you're like, of course we lost the team that won the whole thing. I want to dislike them, but again, Minnesota's never won it. I got no issues with Minnesota. I do have issues with teams that move. And I don't think Oklahoma City should ever not have been the Seattle Supersonics.
I get that, and that's a good enough reason for me. I personally, like you said, I like Anthony Edwards. I know he just beat us.
He was great on ER.
He was great in Hustle.
He was great in Top Gun.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, you kill me.
I'm rooting for a Minnesota Knicks final, but I think it might be Oklahoma, Indiana. And those ratings are going to go in the toilet if it's that one.
All right, we should keep moving, Matt.
Let's
just do a little. The one thing we haven't talked about today is a little 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers.
Because as we learned very clearly, the Gilbert boys are East Bay guys. They're not down with the Niners, Giants of it all.
Let's talk San Francisco 49er, folks. Over the weekend, Brock Purdy signed a $265 million contract. My question to you, Paul, will the 49ers regret this, yes or no?
No.
No, same. No, I don't think they
Slightly
will.
below market value. I think it's relatively team friendly.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think they can win the Super Bowl with 3 guys, which is basically what they have: Kittle, Fred Warner, and Brock. But I think they'll be competitive with Brock as their quarterback for a long time.
They had to give Brock this contract, if for no other reason than what he did the last 2 years was save Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's job.
Right, because otherwise they'd be fired for the Trey Lance decision.
Right, and then you would be stuck, with the Jimmy Garoppolos and all the other sort of has-been quarterbacks.
Mac Jones.
Listen, and then yesterday they go out and they re-sign Fred Warner to the highest-paid linebacker in the league.
He looks exactly like Bob Marley, by the way. I just saw the Bob Marley movie on an airplane. It was not a good movie at all, but Fred Warner looks a lot like Bob Marley.
You know who he also looks like? He also looks like the Predator.
One ugly motherfucker.
But the Predator doesn't really have a face. It's more the hair.
I like the Niners taking care of business early, like Michael Corleone in The Godfather.
No, Carlo, you're out of the family business. That's your punishment. You're finished. I'm putting you on a plane to Vegas.
We are going into training camp for the first time in forever without any contract drama.
And a 4th place schedule.
We have the 2nd easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, everyone's feeling good about the Niners. I mean, they forgot about the fact that they didn't draft an offensive lineman and they lost a lot of guys. But I think it's going to be a fun year because there'll be a lot of open competition they don't normally have. And none of this, will they sign Brock or won't they sign Brock, which has been good for our 2 million views. But I think we're all getting a little tired of that storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock's going to have an all-time year. I'm back drinking a lot of the Kool-Aid day trip. And I think Brock's going to be great.
What do you think he's going to do with that money, Matt? What do you think he's going to do with the $53 million a year? That's a lot of money for a guy who was Mr. Irrelevant. His parents were hot tub salespeople. What do you think he's going to do?
I'll tell you what Brock's going to do with all of that money, okay? He's going to open up Brock Purdy Fried Chicken, okay? He's going to franchise some of that.
Does he a fried chicken guy?
Yeah, I don't know. He's going to open up some sort of a John Deere tractor competition for John Deere, and he's going to open the Brock Purdy Foundation.
He's going to do the Brock Purdy Foundation.
The Brock Purdy Foundation.
I think he's going to get bigger sponsorship deals too.
Yeah,
because they know he's going to be in San Francisco for a while, and it's cool being a San Francisco quarterback. They had some great ones.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you had if you signed a $265 million deal, Paul, what would you do with the money?
I would immediately be out of the NFL because I'd be like, I get $260 million and 181's guaranteed, and I probably would party too hard or I do something fucking stupid.
You would Johnny Manziel it?
I'm sure I would do something stupid.
Yeah.
I don't have the killer instinct that Brad Gilbert talks about.
Or Brock Purdy's killer instinct. Yeah.
I know. Anyway, no, he seems very grounded. I don't know what he's going to do with it. Something fun. I don't know.
He might open up a foundation for Mr. Irrelevance. You know what I mean? Or just irrelevant athletes.
That's a great idea. No, he should just have a foundation for every guy who was the last pick in the draft. Give every one of those guys some dough.
A fetish for every undrafted guy in the draft. Paul, San Francisco baseball Giants.
Yep.
Yeah. The Giants move Hicks out of the starting rotation, Hayden Birdsong in. We were talking about that last podcast. How do you feel about that? How do we get Kyle Harrison into the...
I'm putting on my Yami Giants hat for this, Matt.
How do we get Kyle Harrison into the rotation,
So David VR, if you have any money on this, David VR, the Giants just cut.
Yep, DFA.
DFA'd first, third baseman, had 36 home runs in the minors in 2022. He's going to be in Japan. He's going to be big in Japan. So that's my prediction for the day. That's why I have my Yami Giants hat on.
Listen, I know you're doing the Washington D.C. two-step here, but how do we get Kyle Harrison into the rotation?
I'll tell you how to get Kyle Harrison in rotation. Justin Verlander has a pec injury.
That's right.
Yeah. And so he's going to be load managed.
Do you think Justin Verlander has a pec injury, or do you think they're just giving a little vacation because Kate maybe needs to go hang out with Kate Upton?
I did say load manage. You get it?
Yeah,
managing loads.
Load management.
Can I say that?
Yeah, you just did.
I got a laugh from Nick.
You did. No, that's good.
So maybe he's 42. He's the oldest player in baseball. Most rotations by the end of the year, you got 8 or 9 guys at least have started games.
I think we're moving in the right direction. I mean, last night's game they lost 1-0 or 3-1, but it was 1-0 for a while. We can't hit, Paul.
Can't hit. I'm worried Adames is a bust. I know it's early.
It's early. No, I don't think Willie's a bust yet. Don't put that bad juju out here.
His greatest sin last night in the game was he got doubled up at third base in a one-run game. You can't have that happen.
You can never get that can never happen. Here's my question. Okay, we have to get a bat,
right?
And there is this black hole at the bottom of our order.
Okay,
with Patrick Bailey and Lamont Wade. Those two guys are basically the movie Titanic.
Is there anyone there?
Yes, from QC.
Iceberg, right ahead!
Thank you.
Iceberg, right ahead! Stop!
What are we going to do about the bottom of the order here? I mean, we got to get a bat here. Lamont, he had a couple of good swings last night, but how long are we going to ride this death train of these two guys?
I just took a sip of my day trip CBD. Blackberry's delicious, just because I had to think about that for a second. So nothing's happening with Patrick Bailey this year. They don't have anywhere else to go. They're going to keep telling you he's the best defensive catcher in baseball. You know, maybe when they get rid of, when the robo-umps come, they'll finally realize that this guy can't hit. I think Lamont Wade is heating up. He had a big hit on Sunday. He had a big pinch hit yesterday.
Yeah.
I think they got Casey Schmidt back, so they can go back to a full platoon, and Lamont will stay hitting against righties only. The bigger issue is the Giants are 15 games over against right-handed pitchers. They're 7 games under against left-handed pitchers.
Yeah.
They're a totally right-handed dominant team. It's crazy. Chapman's right-handed. Adames is right-handed. We got to get something from the guys we're paying.
Yeah.
These big contracts. If that happens, this team can start hitting and actually start being fun. I mean, they're better than we thought they'd be, but they're just a giant affliction, which is they can't hit.
Yeah. Affliction.
I think JR Encarnacion this weekend, Bryce Eldridge had back-to-back homers.
I saw that. He had back-to-back homers.
He'll be up by the All-Star break.
Yeah.
That's my bold prediction brought to you by Day Trip.
You know what? Also, I wish we had this sponsor. Wilmer Flores is on some sort of dick pills because that guy just can't. He leads the league in RBIs. He needs to share the wealth. Whatever he's eating, whatever he's doing.
Do you think they test for dick pills?
No, they can't.
They're legal, right?
Nick knows about this. Do they test for dick pills in Major League Baseball?
I mean, they do allow wooden bats, so,
Yeah. Oh, well, see what he did.
Look at that guy. He's all grown up and all grown up. Yes.
Do you have a pet peeve, Matt? We got to keep moving.
I do not have a pet peeve.
Look at you. You come back from vacation. You're feeling great.
I have no pet peeves.
Yeah.
Actually, I might have a pet peeve because it's part of my best things we saw.
Okay, look at that segue.
In New York, I saw the hottest play in town. I saw Glenn Ross.
I saw you posted the show bill.
Yeah, I saw the David Mamet Tony-winning play, Pulitzer-winning play. It's been done. It's a classic movie with Pacino and Ed Harris. I saw it. It's star-driven. It's got Kieran Culkin, Bob Odenkirk, Bill Burr, Michael McKean. This is my review headline in SF Gate. Glenn Ross, a lot of fun if you're on a cruise ship.
Wow. So you're the little guy in the chair.
Yeah.
Are you just sitting there? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just sitting there.
Okay.
They went for the fun. I thought it would be a little bit more intense. I think the actors were trying so hard not to be a caricature of the actors who played those characters in a movie.
Interesting. Maybe, every actor's seen that movies too many times.
But what they did, unfortunately, is they got away from what the character is. There was a lot of mugging in this. I didn't feel the intensity. The best guy in it is Bill Burr.
I can see that.
In the Ed Harris character, he was brilliant. I think Kieran Culkin, our boy Roman, was completely miscast as Ricky Roma. Bob Odenkirk did an okay spot as Shelley the Machine Levine. If you're in New York, definitely go see it. But I think we hold Glenn Gary to a higher standard, and he just didn't deliver for me.
Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?
Okay, good. I was jealous you went, and I'm a big Mamet guy. I actually saw Glenn Ross on Broadway years ago. I saw Speed the Plow with Madonna back in the 80s on Broadway. Yeah. I seen American Buffalo, all classics. But okay, good. I don't feel like I need to run off to New York to see it.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Not having major FOMO about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the best thing you saw this week?
Well, so it actually reminded me, I don't think we talked about it. So we've been talking Friends and Neighbors, which I've now run up against the last current episode.
So have I. Watched it last night, so we can talk about it.
Well, but then spoiler, are we going to spoil it for people?
Yeah, because this is going to come out in a week.
Okay.
Yes, because there's new episodes next Thursday. So what are you thinking now about what we have so far?
I thought the last 2 episodes were the weakest 2 episodes.
I agree.
When they went to Princeton, I thought it was really boring. They got it right, though. They got Princeton right. They went to Hoagie Haven. Mm-hmm. They got a cheesesteak. They went to Nassau Inn, sitting down there. I didn't buy the fact that they got a bottle of Jaeger, the two of them, that ex-wife, husband were going to drink that bottle of Jaeger together.
Yeah.
But I thought they were boring. And we finally are now where we need to be, which is what happened at the end of the last episode.
Well, he got arrested.
Right.
He got arrested for a murder that he didn't commit, but he's got to pay. But I thought all of a sudden they're trying to become this drama. Okay. And even though it is a drama, I thought it could have been more fun. It's losing a little bit of its spiciness. I think they're trying to, it feels very Law and Ordery, like who done it now? How's he going to get out of this? I don't know. It's just, it hit a wall.
Yes.
But there's 2 more episodes.
I wanted it to go more Breaking Bad, Ozark, which is, clearly its models, which is that he keeps figuring out how to stay one step ahead of this shit. Maybe it's going to happen now. He's been arrested.
Yeah.
But I thought they moved too quickly to the arrest.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him turn more into, cat burglar, par excellence, et cetera. You wanted more with the maid?
Yeah, I mean, I know how we kind of make me out here on this show to be Randy Jackson. But to your point, let's get his James Caan and Thief.
I also, real quick, and we got to get out of here, I think I haven't talked about this. Talking about Kieran Culkin, I saw Real Pain on an airplane. Have you seen it?
Nick, have I seen a Real Pain? Again,
I don't think anybody saw it. I know Kieran Culkin won an Academy Award for it.
Just excuse me here.
Yeah, you see everything.
I loved it, and we all saw it. And I just, once again...
Did Nick see it? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
See, Nick hasn't seen
it. 80% of people drink right now. Paul's going to talk about a movie that was at its height 4 months ago. But let's talk about Real Pain, because I have a take. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And I don't like Jesse Eisenberg, and I love Kieran Culkin, and I thought he was good. I'm not sure I thought he was a Jew. I looked it up, and he's not Jewish. He's Roman Catholic. But I actually, and this is going to sound, I don't like to get political on the show, but my mother's family's Jewish. My grandfather, his entire family was killed in the Holocaust. I thought this movie was an important movie, particularly with all this craziness that's going on in the world around the topic of anti-Semitism and other things.
Yeah.
I don't want to get political or whatever. I think people should see this movie, and I was proud of Hollywood for making this movie, and I thought it was worth watching.
I felt that it was so hyped that by the time I saw it...
I had no idea it was hyped. I knew nothing about it. I thought it was a weird name. I didn't understand it.
Well, they got nominated for Best Screenplay. Kieran Culkin won the Oscar. When I saw it, sort of at the tail end of when it was in the theaters, I was disappointed. It had such high expectations for it that it was a bit of a letdown for me. Maybe I need to see it again. I just thought it was like,
I thought it was going to be shitty, so I had very low expectations.
I thought it was going to be incredible, and I was all ready to feel emotional about it, and it didn't bring the gusto to me.
That's fair.
It was just a couple of guys talking on a vacation. Granted, I'm the guy who thought Sinners was underwhelming too. Apparently I'm supposed to like Sinners, but I thought Sinners, it's a fine movie, but people are talking about it like it's the greatest thing of all time this year. It's fine.
I haven't seen that either, Matt. I'll see that. I'll talk to you about that in 6 months.
Yeah, talk to me about that in 6 months. Anything else, Paul?
That's it, Matt. Do we have shout-outs? That's what we usually end with, a shout-out. Do we have a shout-out?
Actually, it's so funny you say shout-out. Shout Out LA dropped an article about me in the podcast.
That was a great article.
And
I read that.
It's going to be out. Actually, I'm going to post about it this week. So if you want to.
You intimidated me. You actually introduced that guy to me, and now I'm very intimidated because I thought your interview was so good. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Let me talk to you about that offline.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
But hey, we always got to.
Great. Good new publicity photos.
Yeah, those were good.
No Diddy.
Hey, no Diddy. Those shots were actually taken by a friend of the pod, Aaron White.
Aaron White. I put my day trip hat back on because that's my shout out. Thank you, Day Trip. We appreciate you guys. Our good buddy Joey Canada.
Yeah. Hey, good stuff. Once again, we want to thank Nick Conrad for producing us here on the Beat LA podcast. He's on the wheels of steel, as they say. Paul, until next week or the week after.
Let's thank our guests.
Do we
thank our guests? Oh, thank you, Brad and Zach Gilbert. Very appreciative of you guys being here.
Yeah.
That was my Super Bowl and my Roland Garros.
Yeah.
Actually, Roland Garros is their least favorite one. That was my Aussie Open.
I want my Roland Garros Super Bowl interview on this podcast.
Let's make it happen. Who is that?
Timothy Chalamet. We'll see you next week, folks. Beat LA.
Beat LA.